10 people on Zoom, but that we don't often have a ton of people in Zoom because people don't have to register to be able to watch in Facebook. So
Okay,
a lot of
great.
folks tend to be over there. So let me just see here. So for anyone joining us in Zoom, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you. This is sort of the behind the scenes area of Yale Alumni Live whenever we're on Facebook, because we let everybody come in through Zoom who might not be on Facebook, and then we tether over to Facebook. So we're live in 2 different places. So I will give it just another moment, and then we will tether over to Facebook and get started. Did Feb Club events go on in snow like this? Did people trek through the snow for events, you think, on campus?
You bet.
What else is there to do, right?
Exactly. That's the point.
I know. I went to school in Virginia, so we didn't have a lot of snow days, but when we did, we sure enjoyed them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get us tethered over to Facebook. So Tim, I usually do like some quick housekeeping announcements over in Facebook to let people know that they can ask questions. And like I said, I'll follow along in Facebook so that you don't have to worry about like reading any questions. I will give those like over to you. So
Great. Terrific.
there's a moment of a delay when I do this. So I will let you know when we are live. So thank you for those of you who joined us in Zoom, and we're going to go over to Facebook now, and we're going to talk to Tim about Feb Club, which we are so excited about this year. Just 1 minute, and we will be over in Facebook. You got quite the buzz when I posted about this on Tim. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
are.
Everybody seems to really love Feb Club, so this is
What's
a great
not to
way
love?
to remind everybody about it. Okay, so we should be live on Facebook in just a minute. I'm gonna post a title on here so everybody knows who we are and what we're doing. Anybody who happens to be seeing us right now, we're gonna get started in just a moment. Let's see. Okay. All right, I think we're gonna be live in Facebook. In just 1 minute, I'm just going to check one more thing, make sure that it is connecting. Facebook is so tricky sometimes. It likes to keep me on my toes, I think. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that we are live, and I see us on Facebook. So I would like to say hello and welcome everyone back to Yale Alumni Live. It has been a little over a month since we have had an episode and a special guest joining us, but I am very excited to be back here today on the Yale Alumni Facebook group page with Tim Harkness, class of 1987, who I don't think needs a huge introduction, because judging on the excitement when I posted about this event on Friday, I think many of you know and love Tim. And so we're very excited to be here today to talk about, very appropriately on February 1st, Feb Club, the origins of Feb Club and Feb Club Emeritus. So I just want to remind everybody, in case you've forgotten over the long holiday break, because I think I might be rusty as well on my mechanics of Yale Alumni Live, we are live in 2 different environments. We are live in Zoom, and we are live in the Yale Alumni Facebook group. So we are happy to take your questions in both places. So if you are in Zoom, you can put those into the chat or the Q&A. And then if you are watching in Facebook, you can write into the comments. And now I know a lot of you had talked on Friday about stories and recollections of Feb Club, and we'd love to collect those. So feel free to put those into the comments. And we are working on a little article about it because it has become such a beloved tradition at Yale. And we're really excited to be here today on February 1st with Tim Harkness to be talking about Feb Club. So Tim, before we get into the meat and potatoes of Feb Club, tell us just a little bit about yourself and your Yale experience, if you would.
Sure. So as Stephanie said, I'm a member of the class of 1987. My journey to Yale began in the mid-70s. We were on a family road trip driving from Boston to New York, and we saw Harkness State Park, and we said, what the heck is that? And then it turned out we learned a little bit more about things, and then we saw that there was a Harkness tower, which we thought was hysterical. Didn't know that at the time. And so it became the family joke, like, oh, when the time comes, Tim will apply to Yale. So I applied to Yale, I got in, and here I am. So, I had a wonderful time at Yale. I was one of the more social chairs. And really, for me, the hallmark of my experience was meeting everyone, spending time with my classmates, people in other classes. For me, being around such a diverse group who was interested in so many different things is the thing that I drew the most energy from. And so started organizing reunions after that. Actually reconnected with my now wife at our fifth reunion. Asked her on a date after we had such a good time catching up. And 2 years later, we were married on campus. So deep Yale connections.
I love that. I love that fifth year reunion. It's a good plug to go back to your fifth year reunion. Anybody who's watching, you never know what might come from it.
Yes. We've actually had 2 Feb Club marriages. So Feb Club has actually been a place where people have met and gotten married.
Oh, I love that. What a great pitch. So let's look at all the reasons why you need to stay connected to Yale. You never know where your path may take you. So Tim, there's been a lot of conversation in the alumni Facebook group and in just other groups in general related to Yale about Feb Club and the origins of Feb Club. So what can you tell us about Feb Club? Because a lot of our graduate and professional colleagues and friends don't have the same tradition of Feb Club, which is why Feb Club Emeritus is here to save the day. So if you could just give us like whatever recollections you have about the origins of Feb Club on campus, that would be awesome.
So back in olden times, in the 80s, when I was on campus, Feb Club was a very informal thing. Someone would organize Feb Club. Our senior year, it was one of the classmates who helped me launch Feb Club Emeritus, who ran it, and he would get a calendar. And we have it posted in a couple different places, but it's literally a written calendar that would take to Kinko's. And if you got one of the calendars, you knew where the parties were. And there was a different one every night, all informal, and it was up to the host to sort of figure it out. The ones on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night were pretty big, and sometimes the Monday, Tuesday ones were pretty small. And it was really up to the creativity of the individual host to do it. But it was really informal. I've learned since starting all this that the tradition started in the 70s. There are a few different people who take credit for the exact origins of it, but it seemed to be around the beginning of coeducation at Yale College, and that continued for a very long time. I think there was sort of a short period where there wasn't really a Feb Club, and then it became more of a organized by Yale College Council and more geared to seniors. But back in our day, it was very informal, and you just had to know someone with the calendar and find out where Feb Club was, and you just went.
So Tim, what I've heard also is that it kind of stemmed from this belief that New Haven in February can be a bit dull. Is that true? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah, the whole idea is that there's not a lot going on in February, and so and it's sort of dreary in New Haven anyway, so you might as well make something fun of it. And as I understand it from some of the people who were participants in the very first Feb Club, that was the idea.
And it's funny that it is, pretty much a blizzard outside right now here as Tim and I sit in Connecticut, and we were joking before we went live that this would be the kind of day everybody would pull up their snow boots and head across campus to find somebody to hang out with, because it's a perfect day to celebrate Feb Club. So Tim,
Exactly.
Tell us, what else could you do in this kind of weather? So Tim, tell us about the evolution of Feb Club, because for anybody watching, our students still do participate in Feb Club, and had it been a traditional year, they would have probably had a little bit more sophisticated schedule than what you all might have been used to with a Kinko's copy. I'm sure there's apps and, text message reminders and all kinds of Snapchat filters, things of that nature. But, that Kinko's sheet served its purpose and served its purpose well.
I mean, I showed up in New Haven my freshman year with a typewriter, so it was a different age. I left with a computer, so it was sort of in that thing. Yeah, so Feb Club Emeritus. So Feb Club has evolved and basically become what it is, and as I understand, it's geared towards seniors mostly now. Feb Club Emeritus really was born in 2007. We had the first one in 2008, but the fall of 2007, there were a group of us who were having lunch together, and we were nostalgic for the time where we just hang out with our friends and in an unstructured way. And for us, the alumni events that were being offered in the Yale clubs that we were most closely associated with were a lot of fundraising and talks from guys in tweed. Now, I don't have a lot of my best friends are guys with tweed, so I don't really want to judge, but it just wasn't speaking to us. And a lot of us, at this point, this was a number of years ago, we were in our early 40s, had kids and jobs and responsibilities, and we wanted structured time with our classmates because that interaction is something that we missed. And so we were brainstorming all sorts of different ideas, and they were all terrible. And so we sort of failed, and we were walking out from lunch at the Yale Club in New York, and I turned to one of my friends and said, "You know what we should just do? Bring back Feb Club." And she just said, "That's a great idea. And take your coat off. Let's sit down and let's start planning." And so we did.
I love that. And
It
so
was as simple as that.
yeah, I mean, the best ideas often are as simple as that. It's just a coming together of friends in a casual way. And I think, this year now, of course, with people not being able to gather together, Feb Club is just as important. So I know that you've been doing a lot of work for many years with a great team of people. In the latter years, you've been doing a lot of this yourself, and we're very grateful to you for that. So tell us kind of what's going on this year and maybe some great ideas that you've heard from some of the clubs or just groups of Yalies gathering to celebrate Feb Club Emeritus. What have you been hearing, Tim? What are the plans for this year?
Yeah, so we're excited about this year. It's a bit of a challenge, but we're trying to raise up to it. And at the end of the day, it's all Feb Club's always been powered by the creativity of our hosts. So what we're doing is basically a series of virtual events. There are a few people in New Zealand where there is no COVID-19 talking about having a live event, but otherwise we're still talking about events. We have a number. The first one is tonight. We're using a different platform that's new for most people. So we're going to try a bunch of things this week and see how they work. And so what we have is we have some general Feb clubs like the one we have tonight. We have one that's entirely in a virtual space on Wednesday where people create an avatar and are in a 3D world and they interact. And so you won't actually have a camera. We have a wine tasting on Friday where we're just going to be sipping and sharing. The water polo team, I was on the water polo team, so we decided, let's make one just for the team. We've got one, some people who like to sail said, why don't we just find out if there's anybody who likes to sail, let's do it. We have got members of the class from the 1980s saying, let's have one that's not that will exclude anybody, but let's have one that's targeted for people who are roughly our vintage. We've got two based on residential colleges, really. And then I got a note last night from Yale Women. They're going to be doing an event that I hope to post there too, that's targeted towards their mission. And the whole point of Feb Club from the beginning has been inclusion. So we encourage people to, if they have a particular interest, to have a Feb Club devoted to that interest. We only ask that they include everybody, but if they want to focus on a particular thing, that's great. So we had the Asian American Alumni Association has been doing one for years in San Francisco. We had some Orthodox Jewish alumni who want to do a Shabbat Feb Club a few years ago. We said, go ahead, do it. And we found people have used Feb Club as a geographic or a shared interest group kind of rallying point. And that's really the power of it.
So Tim, you remind me that when you and I first talked, you told me there are only 3 rules to Feb Club. So I feel like this would be the right environment to share those rules to Feb Club, because as long as you follow these rules, there is no wrong way to do Feb Club. So Tim, tell everybody the rules to Feb Club.
Yeah, the rules are really simple. No fundraising, no speeches, it's just a party. And when we make that promise, we make it seriously because that's what's attracted people to Feb Club. And the very first year, we got all these reports back from, I remember we got a report back from the host in Atlanta saying, 50% of the people who came to that first Feb Club in Atlanta had never been to a Yale event. They graduated and that was the last contact they had with the university. And they were reminded through their involvement at Feb Club that it's a great community to be a part of. And it can take all sorts of different shapes and sizes. And that's really the fun part of seeing Feb Club evolve. And we now average between 75 and 125 parties a year, usually in a normal non-COVID year. And we get all sorts of different kinds of events, and all sorts of different kinds of people come to.
So, Tim, I'm going to invite, so obviously we're live right now on Facebook and we're live on Zoom, but this is recorded and it is going to be posted in the group. So I invite anybody who's watching this after the fact or watching right now to go ahead and put some of your favorite Feb Club events or memories into the comments in the chat, because as I said earlier, we are hoping to collect those stories because this is such a popular tradition at Yale. But I'm wondering, Tim, if perhaps you have an event that you really loved attending, or something that was just so creative that you could share with us, maybe your favorite Feb Club memories.
Oh yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of them, but the first year, originally what we were going to do is have a single Feb Club and in New York City just for the class of 1987. And then we told the person in Boston who ran our Feb Club our senior year, he said, well, we'll do one in Boston. And then he said, well, wait a second, we're really ambitious. We do, and it was a leap year, 29 nights, 29 cities, 29 parties. And so we launched a website and we had no idea whether it was going to work. So the first night was supposed to be at one of our classmates. She has a townhouse on the West Side. Now it's a very, very nice townhouse, but it didn't have room for hundreds and hundreds of people. And so we said, oh, we'll probably get a couple dozen. And the RSVP started coming in, and we were going to be up over 1,000. So we had to get a local bar. So we had spillover crowd, and we had no idea what to expect. And it was really just people were hungry for it. And that first night was really, really remarkable. Since then we've had some huge parties at the Yale Club, who traditionally does the February event. We've had perhaps the thing that's been the most interesting to me are the smaller events you have in Philadelphia, Vancouver, Amsterdam. These groups of people who have now been getting together for 14 years and have become friends. And they get together every February, and they might only be 10, 15, 20 of them. In Philly, you've got more, but hearing stories like that is really heartwarming. And then every once in a while, I find I hear the story of someone who was new to town, was in a new town, and they go to Feb Club and make new friends. Or the couple instances I mentioned earlier where people went to Feb Club, found love, and have been now married. It's really nice.
I love that. It's so appropriate in the month of February, Valentine's Day, all of that. So well done, Yale clubs and Yale alumni who have put these events together to bring one another together. And I sit here thinking, Tim, as you're saying, the 1,000 people in an event, I can't even imagine being at a 1,000-person event right now. But I do look forward to the day that I'm at an event of more than 10 to 15 people, because like you, I am very social and enjoy this very much. And I'm just so happy that we're able to continue this tradition virtually. And there are a few places for folks watching or people interested in getting involved with Feb Club to get more information. So Tim, can you tell everybody the website that you have and how it works and what they can do?
Yeah, sure. We have the main website we use is febclubemeritus.com. And we have a Gmail account, yalefebclub@gmail.com. So if you're interested in seeing the calendar, we update it when we get information about parties. And then we're now linking to the YAA website. So that's a great place. We use Facebook. Feb Club for Old People was actually the original name for Feb Club Emeritus for like the first 3 or 4 weeks. The people who were organizing it, we were all in our 40s at the time. We thought it was sort of funny and ironic. People who were younger didn't speak to them, and people who felt that they were truly old didn't think it was funny at all. So we changed the name. But we kept the Facebook group. So we've got a few thousand, and that's a closed one. And then obviously I'm on Twitter as well. And, we take feedback and have a great network of hosts with different ideas. So that's basically how we organize ourselves. It's pretty simple, and it's host driven. Really, the quality of the events really has little to do with the Facebook Feb Club, the Feb Club website as it does the quality of the creativity of the hosts. And that's really what it's all about. And we have a great group of hosts and some people really trying to do some innovative things this year, trying to figure out what works. And we've learned through trial and error over the years that keeping things simple works, and keeping things inclusive works.
Well, Tim, I'm just so glad that we're continuing this tradition. And as Tim said, Tim is here to help. The YAA is here to help. Whatever we can do to continue this tradition and bring people together in a time where we can't physically be together. And Tim, I just want to tell you, Marty from Atlanta is watching right now. Appreciate the shout out that you gave him. And he said that this year they're planning on a professional pizza making demo for their Feb Club event. And I hope, Marty, that you are bringing in someone from New Haven, because New Haven has the experts, right? So best of luck with that event. We're so happy to hear about that. And I also want to mention that in addition to the Feb Club Emeritus website, like Tim has just said, we also have some information on the YAA website, including an opportunity for you to upload any photos, whether it's from this year's event or previous events. We're trying to build a photo album around Feb Club to keep track of all of those events, in addition to all the initiatives and efforts that Tim and his team have put in through the years. So we're very excited. We're happy to help in any way. Feb Club is just a gathering of one or more people in the name of Yale's spirit of Yale, rather, and it could be anything. So this is our call to you to grab a few friends, have an event, be a part of Feb Club, and we're just so happy to be continuing this tradition. And then, Tim, I also have to tell you, there was a comment at the very beginning that I love, because anytime that I talk about Feb Club and Tim Harkness, is that I think a lot of people do think that perhaps your family is related to Harkness Tower fame. And one of
well, we tell everybody that every time a new child is born in our family, a new gargoyle goes on the tower.
The bells ring.
I have a son who was in the class of 2018, and he told that story a few times. But yes.
I love it.
So I come from a little more humble line of Harknesses.
The comment said that the greatest American architect of all time, Frank Lloyd Wright, said that he wanted to live in Harkness Tower so he wouldn't have to look at it. Do you share that opinion?
You know what? I don't. I think it's part of the whole gestalt of that part of campus. And, the world has plenty of ugly buildings that I would want to live in, so I wouldn't have to look at them. But Harkness Tower I don't find so offensive.
I enjoy it as well, and so do my children. It's how they know that they're in New Haven, by seeing the tower. So thank you so much, Tim. I'm very happy that we were able to do this on the 1st of February to kick off Feb Club Emeritus, and to tell everybody that it's still happening, that we want you to be a part of it. And so I will make sure that all of the links to the YA website, the Feb Club Emeritus website, are available to everybody in the recording of this. And thank you to those of you who watched along with us today. Tim, it's been a pleasure. I'm excited to see what comes of Feb Club this month. Thank you so much.
I am too. I hope everyone's tunes in tonight. It's just super simple. You just have to click on a link and you can join the party.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim, and thanks everybody for watching. Thanks. Hopefully we'll see you at a Feb Club event very soon.
Sounds
Take
good.
care,
Thanks.
Everybody. Okay, I just stopped that live stream. So anybody who's still here in Zoom, thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure, Tim. I hope that lots of people are inspired today to do some fun events.
Well, thanks.
All right, so I stopped that live video and I'm gonna say goodbye to you for now, but I'm sure Tim will be talking again. If there's anything that you need, just let me know. I'll be around.
I will.
All right, enjoy your snow day. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye.